Welcome, crypto fam, to the #1 daily Bitcoin pod. Bitcoin back in the green. We're above 63 G's, 70,000 in play. Send it, let's get it. In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis, as well as breaking news. Nayib Bukele meets Elon Musk at Tesla to discuss AI and the future of humanity. That's right. And quoting Max, the leader of Bitcoin country meets a worried U.S. citizen looking to relocate to the only beacon of free speech and economic freedom in the world, El Salvador. Let's go. We'll also be discussing SEC approves options for BlackRock Spot Bitcoin ETF. This is pretty big news. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin outperformed nearly every asset class in the past year, according to major asset management giant Van Eck. We'll also be discussing Michael Saylor sharing 3 catalysts that will take the Bitcoin price to 5 million per coin. I'll be sharing those 3 catalysts. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin to hit $200,000 this cycle, regardless of who wins the election. This is according to the bank executive of Standard Chartered, and the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered is none other than BlackRock. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more, in today's show. Yeah, anyways, fam, if you're new to the channel, very important to smash the likes, then go ahead and subscribe, then hit the bell icon to turn on all notifications to receive daily premium crypto news alerts every day, just like this. And happy Sat Stack and Saturday. Today is pod episode 1764. I'm your host, JV. It's September 21st. 2024. Bitcoin is maintaining above $63,100, up 420 on the day. Happy 420 to the fam. And I see we got 322 people on the stream. We're streaming live on X, Rumble, and YouTube. If you guys can repost this, share it, spread the word, let people know I'm going to be live for the next couple of hours. Always greatly appreciated. Let's kick it off with our market watch, as we do each and every day. Pulling up Coin 360, you should be able to see on your screen. We got Bitcoin up almost 1% for the day, trading above 63,300. We have Ether up 1%, trading just under 2,600. We have XRP at 60 cents, up 3% on the day. Solana in the green, Cardano, the majority of the alts in the green. And checking out coinmarketcap.com. The current crypto market cap sits at 2.21 trillion. That's total crypto market cap. The Bitcoin market cap sits at $1.248 trillion. We got roughly 45 billion worth of volume for the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance is maintaining at 56.6%. Ether dominance hit 14% after recently bottoming at maybe 13.5, 13.4% last week. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours. We got Tau up 14%. We got Aptos up 13%, and Say up 11%. Let me know which alts, if any, you're bullish on for the bull. Holla at your boy. And checking out the crypto bubbles to get a visual perspective on the daily. Safe to say 95% of the market in the green, which we love to see. And zooming out on the monthly, I'd say maybe 85-15 in the green. Still pretty lit overall for the alt market. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index. Today, we're the same as yesterday. Neutral at a 54. Last week, dead in the middle at a 50. And last month, a 39 in fear. And checking out the time chain calendar. We're currently on block number 862,288. We have roughly 887,712 blocks to go into the next halving, which will probably take place April of 2028. And you can currently exchange $1 for 1,581 Satoshis. Again, $1 for 1,581 Satoshis. So there you have it. And if you guys don't know, 1 Bitcoin can be divided by 100 million Satoshis, and you can purchase any amount of Bitcoin. It doesn't have to be a whole Bitcoin. You can buy a fraction of a fraction of a fraction. You can literally purchase $5 worth of Bitcoin today. You can purchase $1 worth of Bitcoin, $10, $20, $20,000, $20 million. It's up to you, and that's the beauty of Bitcoin, family. Here's the latest with what's going on. Let's pull up some of the charts. Just give me a second to pull it up. We're on TradingView. This is going to be live and in the flesh. We'll start with the 1 hour, and we'll work our way out. Let me just switch the scene up. There you go. You should be able to see. So yeah, this is the 1 hour chart, live and in the flesh. We do have a rising wedge formation very clearly. And we do have some targets. We do have a bottom target sitting at 62.3. We're only at 63.2, so not much of a bottom target, but you can see we're trending upwards, which is beautiful, especially over the weekend, where typically we don't see a lot of action because the traditional markets or legacy markets are closed and open back up on Monday. But every once in a while, we get bullish weekend action, which I love and respect. But this is the 1 hour. We're going to zoom out some. Let's check out the 4-hour chart, one of my faves. And as you can see here, we do have a big blue target sitting all the way at $81,800. And we do have a bearish target sitting all the way down at roughly $35,000. Let me know which you feel is more likely, a 36,000 target or 83 or 81, wherever, 82-ish. Obviously, I'm always bullish, so I'm always going to shoot towards the north target. I don't see us hitting this bottom target. In fact, I think the bottom is in when we tap 49, roughly, was it 3 weeks ago? Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe 2-3 weeks ago, we tapped out at a bottom, in my opinion. I don't think we revisit those lows because of the time it is post-halving. Typically, history shows us this is when we start to have massive run-ups. And I'm anticipating a 10-day run-up in the fourth quarter of this year where Bitcoin smashes right through $100,000 so we can finally have our 100K fiesta. Let me know if you agree or disagree, family. And zooming out, we'll check out the one-day chart. You can see we had 1, 2, 3 consecutive green candles. Let's see if we can have another. Pretty lit, I guess, since Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So let's continue the pumpage. We do have a target you need to be aware of, sitting at 47.7 here on the daily chart. But overall, it's looking pretty bullish, in my humble opinion. And checking out the 1 week chart, which is always the most bullish. We have that fat target sitting all the way at $124,600. It's a cup and handle pattern. I think we have the momentum ability in the fourth quarter of this year with all the macroeconomic bullishness in the market to smash this. In fact, this is my fourth quarter target, which is the cup and handle on your screen right now. Let me know if you feel we'll hit 125 Gs this year, Q4. Holla at your boy. And checking out the monthly, you can see here on your screen, we might finally get a bullish September close. It seems to be this way. We're already up pretty substantially from the beginning of the month 3 weeks ago, but we still have a week left. Obviously, we've been trading sideways for the past 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. But before that, we had nothing but bullishness. We had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 green monthly candle closes, which is a good thing. I think this will likely continue. If not for September, which is unpredictable here this week, then I'm pretty confident we continue with the Godzilla green candles on the monthly for October, November, December. Historically, we got roughly an 80% ascension after a halving event every 4 years. So let's see if history is to rhyme, family. But there you have it. That's the latest when it comes to the TA. Let me know where you feel the Bitcoin price action will likely go next, and I'll read your comments out loud. Elon was just recently with Bukele. Yeah, this was pretty cool, actually. Bukele meets Elon at Tesla to discuss AI and the future of humanity. I'm sure you saw the videos circulating across X. Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele visited Tesla headquarters to meet Elon and discuss, among other topics, the role of the next generation tech, such as AI, in shaping humanity's future. On September 21st, Bukele posted a video on X showcasing his visit to Tesla's Gigafactory in Austin, Texas, where he met with Musk. In the brief clip, Musk welcomes the president and gives him a tour of the facility. Let me know if you saw this. I know I reposted it on X. Bukele wrote it was a pleasure to spend several hours talking with one of the great minds of our time. Yeah, let me know if you saw that. Now, Musk followed up by praising Bukele as an amazing leader, quoting Elon. Just had an excellent conversation with President Bukele. We talked a lot about the nature of reality, future of humanity, and how technology like AI and robotics will affect the world. Bukele is in the U.S. to attend the 79th United Nations General Assembly in New York during the last week of September. Musk received homegrown coffee from Bukele, Bean of Fire. Shout out Bean of Fire. Cop your Salvadoran coffee at beanofire.com as a gift and offered a can of Coca-Cola in return. I did see him select Coca-Cola from the fridge and Bukele's choice of drink, which was interesting. Following the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin to the counter rising inflation and reduced dependence of the US dollar, El Salvador is betting on AI and other tech for revenue generation. ARK Invest CEO Cathie Wood recently predicted El Salvador's gross domestic product, which we know is the GDP, could increase tenfold by 2029. Now, Wood met with Bukele back in May, referring to Cathie Wood, to discuss investment opportunities in El Salvador related to Bitcoin, AI, and other tech innovations, as well as tax policies. As Bitcoin Office shared here, President Bukele recently met with Cathie Wood and Art Laffer to discuss investment opportunities in El Salvador. I'm going to assume Art is maybe the CEO of ARK Invest, one of the higher ups. Topics included Bitcoin and new capital markets, tech and innovation opportunities, including in artificial intelligence and Art Laffer's favorite, tax policy. Now, following the meeting with Bukele, here's what Cathie Wood was quoted sharing. President Bukele's determination to turn El Salvador into an oasis for the Bitcoin and AI communities, two of the biggest economic and technological revolutions in history, is the reason I believe that its real GDP could scale tenfold during the next 5 years. Now, obviously, Cathie Wood very bullish, not just on Bitcoin, but in AI as well. And in over 3 years since adopting Bitcoin as legal tender, El Salvador has made over $31 million in profit. Bukele's main objective behind Bitcoin adoption was to promote financial inclusion, facilitate more efficient remittance payments, and attract financial innovation. Amen. Now, here was Max's response to Elon and Bukele meeting. You can see them shaking hands here. I guess that's at their that factory over in, I'm assuming, in Texas. The leader of Bitcoin country meets a worried U.S. citizen. I love how Max reads between the lines. Looking to relocate to the only beacon of free speech and economic freedom in the world, El Salvador, the only place of Bukelenomics. As game theory continues in full effect, what do you think Elon and Bukele were talking about? Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall during that conversation, right? But anyways, Joe, welcome everyone joining the stream. We discussed Bukele and Elon. Our next story, this is actually pretty big. Regarding the Bitcoin ETF, options are now officially approved by the SEC. That's right. Well, let's break this down. The U.S. SEC gave NASDAQ the go-ahead to list and trade shares of options for BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF. In September's 20th notice yesterday, the SEC approved options trading for the iShares Bitcoin Trust under the ticker symbol IBIT on the NASDAQ. And according to the NASDAQ, the exchange will allow trading for options on the Bitcoin ETF in the same manner as other ETF options, subject to the same rules. Quoting them here, options on IBIT will be physically settled with American-style exercise, said the SEC noticed. The exchange stated that options on IBIT will be subject to the exchange's respective initial and continued listing standards. The exchange's initial listing standards require, amongst other things, that the security underlying a listing option be characterized by a substantial number of outstanding shares that are widely held and actively traded, according to the SEC. Now, could more approvals be incoming? Let's discuss it. It's currently unclear whether the commission will move forward with approving the listing and trading of options. I have a feeling they will. What are your thoughts? For spot Bitcoin ETFs with other U.S. exchanges, Bloomberg ETF analyst Eric Balchunas speculated on X that more offerings would be approved in short order. I think he knows his business when it comes to ETFs. He's the expert. This is just one stage of approval, said the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency and the CFTC. They have to approve as well before they officially list, according to Balchunas. The other two don't have a clock, so not sure when they'll be approved. But it is a big step nonetheless that the SEC came around. Now, on August 5th, the trading volume for the IBIT Bitcoin ETF hit more than 875 million, and a total for the spot Bitcoin ETF investment vehicles was more than 1.3 billion. NASDAQ also filed with the SEC to request options trading for spot Ethereum ETFs to be allowed on the exchange. So there you go. And I think from my understanding, BlackRock now has over 21 billion worth of Bitcoin ETF volume since they launched their ETF back on January 11th. So you already know the institutional adoption is not slowing down. They just released a report, I believe it was yesterday as well, I covered in the podcast, where they're very bullish. Clearly on Bitcoin, they know the US is in 35 trillion of debt, and I think every month it's like another trillion. It's an impossible feat to ever pay back. And the only hedge at this point, from my understanding, is Bitcoin, which is the perfect savings. You know what I mean? But anyways, let's continue where we left off. Welcome, everyone. We got 900 people on the stream. Let's discuss the latest with another major asset manager by the name of Van Eck. Very bullish on Bitcoin, obviously. Headline reads, Bitcoin outperformed nearly every asset class in the past year. Bitcoin has outperformed almost every asset class in the past 12 months, but a recent drawdown has investors spooked. According to a September 19 report by Van Eck, that's 2 days ago. Spot Bitcoin prices are up 124% since September of 2023, and Bitcoin gained relative share amongst cryptos. According to the report, Bitcoin's market cap, which is approximately $1.25 trillion as of September 20th, comprises 56% of the crypto total, up some 15% since a year ago. According to Van Eck, their experts expect Bitcoin's long-term bull market to continue for the foreseeable future, adding that Bitcoin's adoption as an investment vehicle isn't driven by the same forces today as in 2023. And this is coming directly from the Van Eck report. It shows you the Bitcoin fundamentals, which year on year is neutral. Miner behavior, they show is positive. Institutional adoption, positive. Asset correlations, volatility, neutral. The Fed in the U.S. elections, positive. And demand for decentralization, positive. Now, previously, Bitcoin adoption was largely a retail-driven phenomenon, accelerated in 2023 by the inscriptions, which Van Eck described as a viral innovation enabling the users to store media files directly onto the Bitcoin blockchain. Inscriptions' waning popularity in 2024 contributed to an approximately 25% year-over-year decline in transaction fees on the Bitcoin network. The Bitcoin price appreciation this year is better explained by growing adoption as money, a vehicle for storing and transferring value. And in January, U.S. regulators authorized the listing of the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which officially went live on Jan 11th, which now command approximately $55 billion in net assets. According to data from fund researcher Morningstar, that's pretty legit. I mean, $55 billion, that's unprecedented for ETF volume, especially all within the year. I mean, from January to September is like 8 months. So not too shabby. And here you can see the history suggesting the logarithmic Bitcoin price growth post-halving, showing you Epoch 2 in the dark blue, Epoch 3 in the gray, and the light blue, you can see the Epoch number 4, along with the Bitcoin multiple. Now, since then, wealth advisors have adopted the BITI ETFs faster than any new ETF in history. That's what I was just pointing out. Matt Hugin, asset manager of Bitwise chief investment officer, said on the September 9th post on X, quoting him here, Bitcoin's long-term growth is driven by powerful and enduring mega themes: the rising need for decentralized censorship-resistant networks, growing institutional adoption, and increasing sovereign involvement in mining and cross-border trade, according to the report, which was authored by Matthew Siegel, Van Eck's head of digital asset research. The biggest losers in the past 12 months were the Bitcoin miners, who have had a terrible year in 2024. According to the report, the Bitcoin network's April halving is largely to blame. Every 4 years, as you know, the number of Bitcoin mined per block is reduced in half. The April event reduced mining rewards from 6.25 BTC to 3.125 Bitcoin per block, and that has weighed on the Bitcoin miner fundamentals. The Bitcoin hash price, the unit of profitability in the industry that measures the revenue earned for each 1 trillion cryptographic hash calculations per second, is down 97% year over year, according to Van Eck. So there you have it. Yo, what are your thoughts on all of that? Do let me know. Next story, let's dive into this $5 million prediction from Michael Saylor. He made this a few months ago. I remember when he shared it, and he said, when these three things occur, Bitcoin's going to go to $5 million. And I think everything has ultimately occurred or in the process of occurring. So let's break this down, and then we'll dive into our 200,000 price prediction for this cycle, regardless who wins the election. And I agree with that. I think regardless if the anti-crypto folk win the election or the pro-crypto folk win the election, and we clearly know what side is what, nothing can stop Bitcoin, and eventually it's going to go where it's destined to go. No one can stop it, and that's the beauty. But anyways, here's a tweet Bitcoin Archive shared. Shout out to the Bitcoin Archive. Michael Saylor, 3 catalysts which will take Bitcoin to 5 million per coin. Number 1, and he made this prediction before all these things actually occurred, which is pretty prophetic. So check it out. Number 1, spot Bitcoin ETF approval. Well, guess what? We got the approval, and ETFs are killing it. As I mentioned, I think overall, did I say 50 billion in volume, something like that? BlackRock alone, 21 billion in volume. And BlackRock now has more Bitcoin than MicroStrategy, and it took MicroStrategy 4 years to achieve. That's how fast they're buying up the biddies. Now, this particular cycle discussing institutional adoption is different than the previous. The previous cycle was led by retail. Just people buying Bitcoin, right, as a speculative asset. This time it's much different because we have institutional adoption. Institutions weren't here yet, right? We didn't have BlackRock, we didn't have ETFs, and we didn't have all the banks embracing Bitcoin. Now we do. The table is turned. And what has been leading the market this year and making us appreciate, actually since they got the word out, which was probably in the fourth quarter of last year, we knew that the Bitcoin ETF was coming, right? Things have changed. I think retail enters when we enter price discovery, which means a new all-time high. That's when gets the regular Joe Schmoes interested again. It's just the nature of humans. No one is interested in Bitcoin when it's at a bottom. Everybody praises it, including your grandma, when it's at an all-time high. It's just the nature of the human being, the nature of psychology, right? But anyways, we now have the ETF approval, not just BlackRock, but all the major asset managers, and more to be approved. We also have the ETF adoption in Hong Kong. We have the ETF adoption of El Salvador and other places as well. I don't know on the top of my mind right now, but there are other countries that now have the ETFs as well. Now, the other thing is the fair value accounting rules from FASB. They also made the announcement earlier this year that we got them. I don't think they took effect yet, but it's already a done deal. So those two things, done deal. Now, the third thing is banks custody and lend against Bitcoin as collateral, coming soon. Now, in El Salvador, they announced a Bitcoin bank. And eventually here in the United States, I think all the major banks will allow you to custody your Bitcoin. Why wouldn't they? It's pristine collateral. And then you'll be able to borrow against your Bitcoin as collateral. Any of you have any experience with this? Let me know. I have a little experience with this because that's how I got my house. I got a Bitcoin-backed loan, right? And it was actually a pretty interesting experience. So there will be a day where you don't have to sell your Bitcoin if you choose not to. Of course, you'll be able to sell your Bitcoin at $1 million if that's what you want, fiat so badly. But one day you'll be able to borrow against it because it's perfect collateral. And you can keep your Bitcoin, pay back the loan, and get your full collateral back. That's going to be a game changer, especially here in the United States. I think it's destiny. You let me know your thoughts. I know Max Kaiser has talked about a Bitcoin bank being released in El Salvador. I don't know if it's officially launched yet, but I know they're going to have those options as well, being it's Bitcoin country. So theoretically, you can go move to El Salvador, buy a property, use your Bitcoin as collateral, pay off the loan, and get your collateral back. So there you go. 5 million per coin. We could be very close. I think we hit 1 million, not this particular halving or cycle peak, but I think the following cycle peak, we're destined for 1 million. And who knows, maybe potentially 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. And that's what makes crypto and Bitcoin so exciting, right? We don't know what's going to happen, but one thing we know for sure, your purchasing power of the US dollar is mathematically guaranteed to continue to decline as it has been for the past 100 years. And your purchasing power of Bitcoin is mathematically guaranteed to increase as it has been since the Genesis block of January 3rd of 2009, 15 years ago. I mean, Bitcoin is perfect money. It's a vehicle you should be saving in. Because if you're saving in fiat, you're shooting yourself in the foot. You're losing money due to inflation. You know what I mean? Now for our featured story of the day. Headline reads, Bitcoin hit 200,000 by the end of 2025, regardless of who wins the election. This is according to the bank executive over at Standard Chartered Bank, a major bank. And the primary shareholder of Standard Chartered is, guess what? Guess whom? None other than BlackRock. So as you know, they're extremely bullish on the biddy. Let's break this baby down. Geoff Kendrick Not to be mistaken with Kendrick Lamar. Global head of digital asset research of Standard Chartered, a cross-border bank, believes Bitcoin will have likely reached 200,000 per coin by the end of 2025, regardless of who wins the 2024 United States presidential election. Send it. According to the bank exec, 3 factors are poised to drive the price of the Bitty to a new all-time high in 2025, including the likely removal of Staff Accounting Bulletin 121, a rule effectively preventing banks from holding digital assets for clients, a marginal uptick and inflation, as well as the positive inflows into Bitcoin ETFs. Now, Kendrick expects SAB 121 to be repealed by both former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. Similarly, Standard Chartered exec says the leadership changes at the SEC, you know, Gary's about to be replaced, right? We're likely coming, specifically noting SEC chairman's Gary's negative impact on the crypto industry. You can say that again. And what Gensler's potential replacement could mean for the markets. But you know what? They're just going to put another suit in to replace Gary, to continue with Gary's agenda. That's just the reality of it, family. So don't get it twisted. Here's a 2024 election forecast, which I don't subscribe to. I don't believe any of these polls, but nonetheless, according to Polymarket, the odds for the 2024 U.S. presidential election are a 48% chance of Trump and a 51% chance of Harris. Here's why I don't believe any of that stuff. I just remember the 2016 election, like all the news, like 92% chance Trump can't win. And who was he running against? Was it Hillary back then? I forget. I'm not a big politic guy. I'm assuming it was Hillary. But nonetheless, guess who won? Trump. And they all said it's impossible for Trump to win, so don't even vote at this. So I don't believe anything from the mainstream, and I don't know Polymarket, but nonetheless, interesting. Quoting them here, you'll probably see more ETFs relatively quickly. Solana, I would say, would be most likely the third, according to Kendrick. Turning the focus to the macroeconomic picture, the executive stated 10 years yield or above the 2-year yields for the first time around for a number of quarters now, and that's a marginally positive story within that as well. You have got inflation expectations up a bit, whereas real yields are down a bit. Now, Kendrick concluded by forecasting the price of the Bitcoin to reach approximately 125,000 by the end of 2024 if President Trump manages to secure the White House. Send it. So they're saying a Trump victory will send Bitcoin to my target this year, which I mentioned earlier when we did the technical analysis of the live charts. Remember, on the weekly chart, we have that cup and handle pattern at roughly 125,000. I predict Q4. So let's make it happen. Now, it also say they expect the price of Bitcoin to hit an all-time high of 200,000 by the end of 2025, regardless of who's in the White House. And I also agree with that. I think Bitcoin will hit multiple 6 figures this cycle peak, regardless if Kamala, or whatever her name is, or Trump is in office. Now, 45 days to go until the presidential election. I believe it's November 5th. As the November election draws closer, crypto political action committees, POCs, are sending millions on campaigns in the hopes of securing the pro-crypto policies and candidates in office. The 2024 presidential race has elevated crypto to the national level for the first time in history. And according to a recent poll from the Gemini Exchange, approximately 73% of the U.S.-based respondents indicated that crypto policy would influence their vote in some form. That's almost 3/4 of the voters. And here's what I remember from Trump speaking on stage in Nashville. He promised to stockpile the Bitcoin for the United States of America if he is elected. I remember he said on day one he would fire the SEC chairman, Gary Gensler. He said he would free Ross Ulbricht. And they would use Bitcoin ultimately as a strategic reserve asset, not sell any. And then ironically, the Democrats, like a few days after he made that speech, sent something like 200,000 Bitcoin to an exchange, which goes to show you that, like, oh, just in case Trump wins, let's offload all the Bitcoin right now. Kind of crazy, right? But let me know your thoughts. And 40-2 odds on Trump. I've got my $50 down on it. Nice Oracle. The polls are kind of like speed limits. People observe them. Well, you know exactly. Welcome, Skosh. Sorry, I may be incorrect, but this statement is from last month. I think they had a meeting this past week. What statement is that? August 2024, the Bank of Japan raised the key interest rate for the second time of the year to about 0.25% for the range 0 to about 0.1%. And just the other day, while the market here has been pumping, what's his name? Jay Powell announced, I think it was a 0.5% interest rate cut for the first time in years. So we haven't seen any cuts in a long time. Never can pronounce Kamala's. Yeah, I don't really know her name. I don't pretend to know it. Maybe I should just say Miss Harris. I heard they are unchanged, and I don't even say that to like be disrespectful. I just don't know her name. I heard they are unchanged this past week, but they didn't verify it. Oh, right on. You're referring to the Bank of Japan, brother. They did have the meeting this week. So short coin, maybe asking the question. Google voice typing said pools, not polls. I hate Google's voice typing, and it won't be the last time you hear me say it. Word up, yo. Yeah, there's another name for her. Exactly. But here's what we're going to do, fam. I'm going to go ahead and end the YouTube stream. I appreciate the YouTube fam. We got 200 people here. We're going to continue with the uncensored version of the pod, exclusive on X and Rumble. This is a try stream. We're streaming on 3 platforms as we do each and every day. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. We're live on Rumble. If you're one of the people on YouTube, head on over to rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net so you can continue with the after party for the uncensored version of the pod. I promise you it'll be lit. It's my favorite part of the stream, hands down. So head on over to the Rumble. Again, rumble.cryptonewsalerts.net. Let's get ready to rumble.